to worry about. The things that he did for my family, my kids, my sisters and everything, I mean, we can't thank him enough. He was an excellent provider, an excellent protector. I mean, Mom, he took good care of you. He set you up nicely here, and with all the people that have come. And this was pad music to it that my daughter had put on. One of the songs that was picked was The Rose, I believe, by Bette Midler. What was the other one?
There was one by Susan Boyle.
Susan Boyle, you know, the lady that sang on whatever it was. I had selected Harry Chapin's Cats in the Cradle. Do you know that song and the words in it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Dad and I never, we never drank together, we never hunted moose together, anything like that. But we never argued. Never a cross word. He always talked to me about, decisions in my life or whatever, but whether I listened to him or not, he still supported me. And this is basically, if anybody has anything they want to say about him, please feel free to come up. I know one person, who I'm going to call him next, has something to say. And again, thank you everybody for coming. This means the world to us. Hey, Christian? No, I'm okay. I'm going to stay.
I wrote it down because I figured I wouldn't remember everything I wanted to say. And I need glasses to see. You know I put big print. So, unique ties, Sunday morning visits, because that's where he was when he was dropping Kay off at church. Making sweet wine, telling jokes, sending emails, I'm sure you've all had some. Lemon meringue and key lime pies, corned beef sandwiches, Pepsi, but not the diet stuff, were some of Uncle Jack's favorite foods and things that remind me of him. Friend, husband, father, grandfather, brother, brother-in-law, neighbor, and to us, Uncle Jack, were some of his titles. Babysitter, mediator, project manager, if it wasn't for him, my addition wouldn't have gotten off the ground. Chauffeur, he drove us everywhere if we needed to go. Advisor, if I needed advice, he was there for us. Confidant and repairman. Something was broken when Josh was too little. Uncle Jack was the one to talk. These were some of the things he did for us. When Uncle Jack retired, we asked what his plans were. He said that he had no special plans, only that he wanted to help wherever he was needed. And he was a true man of his word. One way or another, he helped all of us over the years. Even the family dog benefited from Uncle Jack's help. A month or two after Uncle Jack retired, in early 1997, he suffered a massive heart attack, which caused extensive damage to his heart, and we almost lost him then. In a way, Uncle Jack thought of that day as the first day of the rest of his life. This event gave him a new outlook. It was a new beginning for him. Since then, he cherished and was thankful for every passing day. He started looking after his health with a passion, reading every label and evaluating every ingredient. He even took up cooking to ensure a healthy diet. He did everything possible to maintain his health in order to lengthen his life. During this time, my husband's health was declining, and eventually Harry passed away. Harry and Jack were not only brothers, but also best friends and confidants. Despite Uncle Jack's precarious health, he stepped up and became like a father to my sons. He was always willing to help wherever he was needed. Uncle Jack taught my boys by example. He taught them the importance of family by his Sunday morning visit and spontaneous lunches. In later years, Uncle Jack was always amazed when the boys would reciprocate with a surprise lunch or a spontaneous visit. We all benefited from Uncle Jack's sage advice whenever we had a problem. He educated us about nutrition, home maintenance, and how to make repairs. Josh particularly benefited from this. We always ask Josh to come help with something. Okay. Whenever we asked for Uncle Jack's help and he didn't have an instant solution, he would say, "Leave it with me." And miraculously, it would be done. Even over the last couple of years, when Uncle Jack was in declining health, he was still helping us out. When asked to help with driving lessons, he commissioned Dave Emery to assist, and the two of them helped my son obtain his G2. When called upon to be a chauffeur, he was ready and waiting. Chris and Leslie hosted Uncle Jack's 70th birthday party, and I remember that it was an unusually warm spring day, and we were outside having a good time. At one point, I looked at Uncle Jack, and he started to tear up. I asked what was the matter, as the party was in his honor. He responded that he thought he would never still be there. When I visited Uncle Jack a couple of weeks ago, he recounted all the milestones that he would have missed. The various marriages and grandchildren that he would have never known since that fateful day long ago. He counted every day as a blessing and a gift. He was pensive about his failing health, but still able to joke about it. In Yiddish, they have a word that describes the measure of a man. It is a mensch, a true man, the embodiment of a man, and what a man should ascribe to be, a person of integrity and honor, someone to admire or emulate. Uncle Jack was that man and more. Uncle Jack commanded respect, not by his physical stature, but by the fact that we would all have been devastated if we offended him in some way. Even in the last several weeks, as his health declined further, he continued each day with a positive attitude. People looked up to him and appreciated his strength of will and resolve. He taught us how to count all our blessings, that friends and family were the important things in life, and that no task was too big or too small. He was the family linchpin, the pivotal point where everyone else revolved around. Uncle Jack was our family mentor, and he will be a difficult act to follow.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to say?
Yeah,
John?
just open it up.
You gotta open your app,
Why
it's
do you do
okay.
that?
I got an app for that, John?
Can I say something while Josh is?
Yeah, sure, Jake, come on.
I just want to address the boob cup that you might have seen.
Tiny as it was.
So, and Christian, you might have noticed at one point, by the way, there was Leslie's pregnant belly and dad's
I
belly.
saw that, yeah.
And there was a cup, which I think Aunt Marianne made for Dad when she was taking ceramics. You know, in the 70s and everyone did. And Christian and I were talking about that the women, I guess, got Christmas trees with the little lights, you know, that everyone kind of had, but Dad got a boob cup, which you may have seen him holding up, which he had until I think he moved from the condo into Caroline.
Yep.
And we always thought that was really funny. And as kids, we're always like, don't take people in the Dad's workroom over there because the boob cup is in there. How do you explain that to your friends?
So
Like,
it's
you
not
just
even the
don't
boom
respect
cup. He had his desk down in the basement there, and on the cupboards above, he's got
don't
a Playboy
tell.
collection. And my
Back
buddy-
when he was a teenager.
Yeah, some of my buddies will attest, there was, in each little panel of the cupboard, there was naked women right across in his arm. Yeah.
Yeah, we like, don't bring any friends into that part.
Where's the blue bug down there?
I don't think it survived the group.
As you guys know, I'm not the best at these kind of things. Uncle Jack was, that's why he was the MC at her wedding. He always had something to say. Whenever there was a speech, he'd get up and give it, just top of his head. Some things I remember from when I was a kid. I remember the Barton Street clutch.
Oh, God.
My knee still hurts, just kind of walk a little bit and go to the chiropractor for that now. I remember his pet spider. He was the only person I knew that had a genuine monster caught in their box.
That scared the hell out of me.
Depended on the principal's name.
I never knew what color his fridge was. So many magnets, like you have to layer after layer peel them down. Sorry. I remember bugging him about those little pre-wrapped gummy watermelon lime things he had. And he'd always give them to me. He'd always fill up the bowl, so it must not bug them that much. I remember winter swims not soaks in his hot tub. I remember watching him on 8mm reel-to-reels, doing handstands when he didn't have a beard, so this was so long ago. I remember him telling dirty jokes on these reel-to-reels to my dad while I'm running around with my He-Man sword, shouting I have the power. And I remember when he was an older man, every Sunday he'd come, just knock once, and then come in at Mom's house, and we'd always be happy to see him. You know, he never missed a Sunday. When Aunt Kay asked him about church, you know, we'd say, "Oh, I'm Jewish on Sundays."
It's the only day.
Yeah. And the thing I remember most, I think my brothers too, was corned beef. Like, I don't know when it would be. They'd come home from lunch one day, and he'd be there, and he'd be like, "Yeah, we're going for corned beef today." And we'd go and sit down. We used to do that with my dad. He took it over after he passed. Then when he got a little older, we'd show up, and he'd just be at home, and there'd be corned beef there, just coming out of the microwave. And then, yeah, when he got older still, it was the other way. We'd show up, and, at his place, and we'd be like, "Hey, we brought corned beef." I don't know why, it's just the most important thing to me growing up. And of course, I remember Uncle Buck, when he went to put on a goofy wig, goofy glasses and all that. Josh is telling me he showed up at his graduation like that. All just because he drew a funny picture of Little Jack in Photoshop. So he never wanted to get on his bad side either. If it came to revenge, he did that. I remember too that he would be the last person in life I wanted to disappoint. Anybody else, so be it. You come and yell at me, you know what, that's your problem, it's not my problem. Except him, he's the last person I want to come to. And he'd be the first person telling you if you have to have too. But even then, if you're ever truly seriously in the jam or had a problem, he's the first person you should call, because he'd sit down quiet, he wouldn't yell, he wouldn't freak out, he'd just say, "Okay, all right, this is what we're going to do." And, things would be okay. I remember when I just moved to Brantford, I just got a job up there, I had no way to get there. Every day for a month, he drove me home and he drove me back.
And that was recently.
Yeah, no, that was like 2 years ago. He was always helping people to his last day. I remember Aunt Kay telling him, to slow down when he was at the condo. You got to stop helping people. You got to start worrying about yourself. And he wouldn't let anybody do anything for him. If you dropped something, he wouldn't let you pick it up. He'd go, "No, I'll get it."
Took over the condo board, did I? 47 buildings, took over the board.
But what I got to say are these 3 points. One, everyone's got their memories about him. If you share them today, good. If you don't, that's fine too, that's you. But write them down, because over time your memory will fade. Write them down tonight when you get home or tomorrow. So have it there when you get older. You can look it over, you can read it, you'll remember all those little details. 2, I'm glad that he lived long enough to see his 3 beautiful kids grow up, find love, and find success. And that he lived long enough to meet his grandkids and know that they're going to be okay. Sorry, what the third thing is. When I remember it, I'll tell you guys later.
Anybody else? No? Ken Taylor.
Okay, go ahead,
Ken taught with my dad, and there's a group of friends that he had. They played cards together the whole bit, and this is part of that group. I mean, I can't acknowledge everybody. Sort of cards, but they traveled together, did lots together their whole teaching careers. They've done it very well.
A lot of fun. We all remember Jack's sense of humor and his sense of thoughtfulness. small example. Judy and I have moved a few times over the years, and Jack and Kay were often there to help us make such a move. On one of the occasions, Jack came up to me and says, Ken, you know, quite often in situations like this, the ruler of the house is given a nice gift to the house. But I want to do something different this year. I want to give you something. He pulled this great big Canadian Tire bag out from behind his back. And he handed it to me, and I took out this nice tool pouch and electric drill. And as I looked up, it smelled on Jack's face as much as say, you know. So I just said, thank you, Jack. And I say it again. Jack, thanks for your friendship.
This is Hal Devens. Hal and Adrian live next door to us on Edgevale Road. This guy taught me how to catch, how to play checkers, and I'm glad that this family can be here today with us.
Thanks, Chris. Just a few memories. We lived next door, as Chris said, for a number of years, and we referred to ourselves as, from the Blondie cartoon, Urban Dagwood. And it started because I had to, our kitchen sink had frozen up, and we were trying to get it thawed, so we had water in the sink and a bucket down below. And of course, the hot water released what was there eventually, but when it, we discovered that the bucket below would not hold all the water that was in the sink. So we ended up with water all over the place. So we just sat there. Your dad just laughed, and I laughed, and that's when we coined that we would be Urban Dagwood. But Adrian and I were dear friends of Kate and Jack, like a lot of people here, and we were able to travel with them and go for, you know, for lunches and that with them. But one thing that sticks in my mind, and I'm watching this video, and one thing about Jack, not many people have seen him in a different light. When Adrian had her 40th birthday party, we had a party at our house. We went out, the kids arranged things, and everybody arrived, and then we came by. And I'm looking and I'm saying, who's that person over there? I couldn't figure out. I thought it was a party crasher. Well, it was Jack, and he didn't have his beard on. It's the only time I ever saw him without a beard. And I swear he did it just because he was going to shock someone.
Jan and Karen didn't know who he was at all. So.
I had no idea who he was.
Jan walked into the living room, walked back into the kitchen and said, Mom, who's in the living room?
It's like, it's your father. I gotta tell you, when your dad asks if you like surprises, you're kind of thinking Disneyland, you're not thinking Disneyland. I'm shocked.
Well, Jack was a dear friend, and Kate, a dear friend as well, and we'll be in touch with you. And so, thanks, Jack, for everything.
Colin? Sure. This is my friend Colin. Okay.
So, yes, I'm Colin. I am Chris's first friend. And I still am his friend.
It doesn't expire.
Only because of Jack Steinberg. When I was younger, maybe 4 or 5, I lived around the corner from Chris, but across the road. 3. Okay, thank you. My memory's not as good as Chris. So every day I would ride my bike around the corner and I'd see this boy across the street. Wave to him, but yet I wasn't allowed to cross the street, so I couldn't meet him. So one day I came around and there was Chris, and Jack saw me, and he thought, it's time they meet. So he brought me across the road. Next to Ben, who's been my best friend. And my first friend that I ever made. So for that, thank you, Jack. There's also a reason why Jack is not an angry man. It's because he took it all out on me. Jack gave me my first nickname, and it was called Fred. Back then, I had red hair.
Yeah.
Okay. I still have most of it, but it is red. It is red. And he added this F onto it. And I could not, for the longest time, I could not figure it out. Why did he call me Fred? He would never tell me. One day he finally told me. Stands for Red. Thanks, Jack, for the nickname.
And with that, Colin, friend since I was 3. Richard's back there since I was 5. Brian, grade 7. Ron was here earlier. So I thank all of them for coming today. And I got high school friends that have walked through the door like crazy. It's incredible. Marianne? Anybody else got something to say? Les has something to say. My wife, Leslie, beautiful, talented,
Thank you.
intelligent,
Shut up.
in charge.
If I can make it through, I'll be really proud of myself. Dad is my dad. He means as much to me as my real biological dad, and he knows that. I just want to tell you about when I first met Dad. Very young, into the Steinberg family, and as you know, they're a crew.
All the in-laws are laughing.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I know, outlaws, huh? Anyway, I remember Mom was arguing with Dad when I first came to the house. I was scared shitless. Didn't want to go up and meet either one of them. Chris is like, this is Chris. So, okay, honey, you'll be fine. Went in and met Dad, and it's really weird, you know. Relationship progressed, and one day I was coming in, because it was like open door policy, I was always there. I worked at the master at the time, and the pool was open, and I seemed to be in it. Seemed to live there, seemed to move right in.
We were in it more than we were.
Yeah. And then one day he came up, and he said, hey, you. And he started poking at me. And I couldn't figure out why he was poking at me. I'm like, what did I do wrong? And what kind of trouble? He's going, you're so tiny. Just want to see how those little feet will jump. As life progressed with Dad, I loved him more and more each day. Even on the days he made me mental. Some days I'd come home from work, groceries be in the house. Mom would be in my garden. Thank you, Mom. 7 years alone in my garden. It looked good, and when you left, it looked like shit. Could never get it right. But lots of times, Dad was always there for me. Even in the tough times, he was there. Advice, he was always there. I will miss this man incredibly. Last 6 months, I was able to be there for him. And I thank God every day for that. He met a lot of my medical friends. He had some GI issues. He had some thrombosis issues. And when I let them know he had passed, because he was such a blessing to them too, made them laugh, they both sent wonderful condolences. And my one good friend, Sam, said to me, that'll be an emptiness you will never replace, which I never will. But as Dad said to me, I gotta let him go. And maybe someday I will, but it won't be today.
Okay, Greg's coming up. He doesn't want to because he doesn't want to do it. You can do it.
Yes. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jen's significant other for 20-some years now. Jack referred to me as his son-in-law.
Yes.
We were considered, myself and Brian and Leslie were considered the outlaws instead of the in-laws. I want to get a happy memory out of the way first of all. So when I first dated Jan and I came to pick her up on our first date, I had to meet Jack. There was no way around it. I couldn't go on a date till I met Dad. I came to the door. Here's this girl. Man comes up, looks at me. I roll my lip. That was it. That was it. After that, whenever I came to Steinberg's house on Edgevale, even though I was 22 years old, I went upstairs with Jan. Door open up there? Yes, Jack, the door's open. I'm 22 years old. And I got used to a lot of interesting phrases that you'd hear around the Steinberg house. My favorite being, Kay, I don't know. I was lucky. I got to take Jack to the doctor last week, 2 days before he passed. And so I got to spend some time with him. I'm gonna lose it. All right, let me just collect myself. I got to spend some time with him, and Jack was ready to go. It was obvious. He was ready to go, and he went. And our phone rang Friday morning, like a lot of people's, and we found out, and like everybody in this room, we were upset. I had to do one of the hardest things I've ever done. Sorry to cry, but I had to call Jack's best friend and tell him his friend had died. And that was tough, man. That was tough. And that's Dennis, who couldn't be here. And that's why I wanted to stand up and say something. Because I know Dennis very well. Dennis was Jack's best friend. And I know he wishes he could be here. And that he would be up here saying something far better than I could ever say. But on his behalf, I want to thank everybody for everything they've done. And I know that he loved Jack dearly. And that he will be missed. For my part, I'm going to miss him terribly. It struck me the other day out of nowhere, and I was saying this to John, that, you know, this is a guy who I've seen as a father, I've seen him as an uncle, I've seen him as a husband, I've seen him as an educator. I knew him when he still taught. He wore those god-awful ties. But he wore them. He was proud of them. I've seen him as an uncle. And it dawned on me that I got upset. And I thought, why am I so upset? Because I'm totally cool with the fact that he's passed away. And I realized that I'd lost a friend. He was my friend. I became friends with Jared's dad. And that's rare. You don't often in your adult life just become friends with someone who's 10, 20, 30, 60, 80 years your senior. Because I'm only 21. And that's, for me, I'm going to be thinking about that for a while. You know, there's a void in our life, and mine and Jan's life, and she's lost her dad. And I've lost a friend. Just like Kay's lost a husband, Chris has lost a dad, Karen's lost her dad, Marianne's lost her brother, and so it goes. So, I know Jack will be missed by every single person in this room, including me. And I think I'd just like to wrap it up by saying, as I said earlier, he was ready to go, he wanted to go, and he went in the best possible way. We should all be so lucky to be surrounded by people who love us, to have had a chance to say goodbye, put our affairs in order, and slip away quietly and painlessly. And for that, I'm truly thankful. I will miss you, Jack. I hope you're in a better place. Get out of my seat.
You know your place. All right, anybody else? If not, Aunt Marianne, you're it. Literally.
Yeah. I don't know how come I'm the oldest and still here. Anyways, we were kids growing up. We always joked. I was the only girl. I was born on my father's birthday. And it was the only birthday present he ever kept.
He didn't have a choice.
Yeah. And the reason they had two more, because I was so great, they wanted a couple more. And their explanation was because I was so bad, they tried to get something different, and they did. Anyways, I'll miss you. And I guess I'll see you soon. Sooner than later, probably.
Not too soon.
Not too soon, but, and tell Mom and Dad and Harry that I'll be there whatever few years or whatever. And tell Harry that he hasn't moved any of my horses yet. And I know that him and Harry probably already plotted how they're going to torment for living life out of me for the rest of forever. They did a good job when they were here.
They got a special place for you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of.
All right. Well, again, I guess you everybody for coming and being part of this. Mom, do you have anything you want to say? Or you want to, okay. My mom's not one to get up and make speeches or anything, so.
Really?
But,
No, we're not talking about the kind of clothes you're wearing when you're speaking.
Are you coming?
No.
No, okay.
I
Speeches
just
in
tell-
public, maybe not.
I just tell you what to do.
That's right. Instructions.
Now I learned this.
Instructions later. But, again, I'd like to thank all the friends, family, cousins, and everybody that's here. I know it's gonna be hard, but we'll get through it together. That's what you would want. And, you know, the next chapter of our life begins.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks again, everybody.
Thanks.